All right, well, welcome back, everybody, to Season 2 of Whiskey, Wine, and Wills. My name is Jordan Jacob. I'm here with my law partner, Michael Greenfield.
What's up, everybody?
Hope everybody had a great New Year, a great holiday season.
Great summer.
Great summer. We took a little bit of time off from Season 1, but we are back with Season 2, and we're very excited because we have a lot of great content coming for you this year, starting with today, Episode 1 of Season 2 and of Whiskey, Wine, and Wills. And today's drink of choice for today's episode is A Midwinter Nights Dram. I've got an Act 11 Scene 4 poured up for us, and this is one of my favorites. So got to promote a whiskey or a wine on the podcast. We're going to call it Whiskey, Wine, and Wills. So we'll cheers.
We want to get Jordan a gift.
This is it.
His favorites right there. Cheers.
So cheers. Start every episode. And we have a lot of great content, a lot of great guests coming up this year. So we're excited to provide that to you. And we hope that you stay tuned with us in all the future episodes. So today's just the two of us again talking.
Yet again. And, we're back to school now with the kids. And it's a new... Getting back into the swing of things has been easy, I think, this year with both the girls now doing the same things after school, being on the same schedule. But it's definitely been, it was a good summer, but nice to get back into the routine, which I think a lot of parents are experiencing now as well. Yeah, no, it's nice it's a whole new routine for us, but it's nice to get back to it with, we got the older one in pre-K and then now a baby that we're navigating that back to school with for the first time. So he's almost one. It has been a while since we've been on Whiskey, Wine, and Wills, but it's nice to get back into a full everyday routine.
Yeah, life happens.
The kids need it too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so as well. And so part of Whiskey, Wine, and Wills, and one of the purposes of it is to talk about life, to talk about legacy, to talk about lessons that we're learning. And I think it's a perfect time to have our first episode of the new season with Back to School, where the kids are going to be learning new lessons, are going to be setting foundations for the future. And so I think that we can talk about today different lessons that maybe we learned in school that we're trying to pass on to our kids and kind of start that conversation. And I'm sure a lot of parents out there, whether your kids are in elementary school or high school or going off to college, you're always trying to teach them lessons along the way. What do you think is a good lesson that you picked up in school that you're now trying to pass on to the boys?
It's a great question. We're in school for, many, many years of the first part of our lives. And so you learn a lot of lessons. But I guess one that I think of often that's come up recently, particularly in law school, is just no matter what it is, whether it's school, whether it's you're into sports, dance, engineering, science, applying yourself and the importance of doing that. And I learned that. I mean, I always kind of knew the importance of that, but I actually saw the results of that when I went to law school. The importance of applying myself. Apparently I was in the gifted program in elementary school. My parents tell me.
I could see that.
You didn't see that. I used to staying up at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. But come middle school and high school, I was interested in other things. And then the applying myself to the education just wasn't what I was focused on. But then when law school came around, I understood the importance of grades in school and all that stuff. So I really applied myself and focused almost solely on that for about 3 years. And the results spoke for themselves based on how I did in school and things like that. And I never forget when I got my first report card, I guess, is that what they call it? Or exam scores or, from law school.
Yeah.
And telling my dad, the results that I got, my dad was like, Mike, I've been telling you for probably 23 years now, if you just applied yourself, you can do great things. And that was, I guess, the first time maybe I just had to get older and more mature where I really saw the results of applying myself. And again, that applies to everything. Now we have a law firm, so applying ourselves to those things, we see the results when we focus on things. So, I only have a 4.5-year-old and a 1-year-old, so figuring out the ways to teach them that lesson. And if there's something that you're going to go after, apply yourself to it, focus on it, and do the best you can. And the sky's not even the limit.
For sure. And
how about you? What's your, if you could think of one right now?
Yeah, so probably the biggest lesson would be, for me, was preparation. I can, to be very honest, I breezed through high school, didn't really apply myself and prepare as much. I kind of just relied on street smarts and I got good enough grades to get into college, got good enough grades to get into law school, but never, I don't think ever excelled. I was never top of the class, but just did enough to get by. It's because I didn't really prepare. I didn't think that preparation was necessary. I just kind of relied on what I knew. And it really wasn't until law school, and especially taking the Florida bar exam, when I really prepared the most I think I ever have in my entire life. And studying, practice exams, just doing everything I possibly could to be prepared for that exam. And I remember the first day of the exam, because the Florida bar exam's 2 days, and you're nervous heading into it. You're taking the exam with hundreds of other candidates, maybe 1,000 probably were there.
Wooden folding tables.
Yeah, wooden folding tables,
large prison,
uncomfy chairs. You have your laptop, a pen and pencil and paper. And I remember opening up the exam book at the start, and I just had a sigh of relief. I breathed a sigh of relief. I took a second. I recognized all the preparation that I put into it. And I passed the exam on my first time, it was one of those moments where I really realized how much preparation is key. And I think that obviously carries over into our job now, and preparing and helping other people prepare. I think so. Yeah. Planning and preparing.
Yeah.
But, we pass that on to the girls as well, as being prepared, is having a plan of action, even at their age. They're 6 and 7 now, and being prepared for school, being prepared for cheerleading. The girls are here doing cartwheels and roundoffs and back handsprings in the house and outside, and literally every chance they can get to practice and prepare for the competitions. And swimming and anything that they do, they put, they apply themselves and they prepare. And we show them, and we say, look, when you prepare, look at what happens.
Yep.
Look how much better you do. And so I think that's one of the things that we're passing on to them is being prepared, and no matter what it is in life. So it's kind of cool to see them take that to heart. They're at an age now where they soak everything in, Oh
yeah.
And I think the boys will be the same way when they get a little bit older.
Mason's already got me.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And so, and that's something that, again, that we teach our girls, but that we also put into practice for the firm.
Yeah.
Is making sure people are prepared and for the future, for no matter what it holds. And I think that's a really important lesson for us to educate our potential clients on as well, when we're talking about estate planning.
Yeah. That's the whole point of what we do, right?
Sure.
Preparing, planning for the future, preparing for the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to think the worst case can never happen to them, but it happens all the time. I know you just saw the Facebook article you talked about briefly.
We were just talking about it before we started filming, that there was an article on Facebook about these two newlyweds that were tragically killed on their way to their honeymoon with their 1-year-old in the car, and the 1-year-old survived and now doesn't have parents. And without who knows if they planned anything ahead. That's probably not what they're thinking of, planning a wedding and going on a honeymoon.
Right.
But young parents especially, I don't think that they think something like that could happen. I know when we talk to potential clients who have minor kids, the first initial mindset is never both of us are going to pass away together.
No, of course not.
It's always, what do we do for the survivor? Because one of us is going to go first. And it's just, if both parents pass away without any type of planning or without anything in place, it could be tragic, especially for any kids that are left behind. And so I think that part of our job is to educate people on all the different potential scenarios and planning ahead for all of them and being prepared for all those potential scenarios.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hoping for the best, but planning for the worst.
That's like when we do, our design session meetings, when I tell people we block off 2 hours and it's going to be at least that, especially young parents are like, what?
Yeah.
Doesn't everything just go to, my husband if I pass away first? And it's like, yeah, well, that's one part of it.
Yeah.
We have to prepare for all scenarios. And that's, we prepare for everything. We think of how much prep goes into getting our kids. We talk about school. Mm-hmm. We prepare for getting all the supplies, making sure they're ready for homework. I don't have homework yet, but I'm sure you have homework now, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that's fun. Yeah. Preparing for everything and something we don't, I think maybe because it's a tough subject. People don't want to think about preparing for that worst case scenario. So as you mentioned, that's why we have the passion for educating people of all ages, but young families in particular, because that's us.
For sure.
Young families are typically the last to think about it. But what I often say is, you know, as young parents with young kids, you know, if something happened to our parents, God forbid, and they didn't plan ahead, which they have because they have kids that do this, but we're going to be okay. Like maybe going to probate we don't have to do it. We don't have to go through it, but we're still going to survive. Our young kids, something happens to you and me, and we don't have anything planned in place. Yeah, that's a whole different game. They can't fend for themselves yet. They for sure decide who the best, you know, guardian will be, or what to do with the money, or things like that, or when they should get it.
Yeah, and you talk about probate, and that's one of the things that we're helping clients to avoid probate, because we could sit here for hours, and I think we've been doing this long enough, and I tell clients in the meetings, I say I could bore you or entertain you for hours with probate stories of what happens when you don't plan ahead.
Yes.
And having seen families go through that probate and how horrible it is, I think that it definitely helps us with future clients and helping them plan. But it's not just young parents, because yes, we have a lot of clients who are young professionals, young parents like ourselves, but we also have a lot of clients who are parents of adult children, and they need to plan as well. And then there's that middle ground where you have children who are going off to college. And we were just talking about this
people don't think about
people don't think about it, is that once your child turns 18, you no longer have legal authority to act for them. And so that's why we do specialized planning for the off to college plan for 18-year-olds, so that they can get themselves set up with a power of attorney, healthcare directives, a simple will, you know, and so that they can nominate their parents to legally act for them if something happens to them in college when they leave home.
Right.
And a lot of parents don't think about that either. So that's one of the cool things that we can do in educating them, is saying, hey, no, there's a plan for everybody. And it doesn't just have to be for parents of minor kids. You know, it's all the way up to adulthood.
18 all the way up until whenever.
Yeah. And really.
90, 100.
Yeah. We have clients that are in their 80s and 90s doing planning for their 50, 60-year-old kids.
Yep.
And still need to protect them as well.
Right.
So it doesn't really matter.
Their lives as easy as possible.
Yep.
By preparing.
Yeah. And so I think that's a huge lesson that all of us can take from school and from those foundations that we build in school, is to plan ahead, to prepare, to apply yourself and be present and just think about the future. You know, yes, we want to focus on the present and enjoy the present, but if you plan ahead for the future, it's not something you have to worry about in the present. You get to enjoy the present.
You can have the peace of mind in the present.
Yeah, exactly.
The future's taken care of.
Yeah, exactly. So I think those are some things that we'll probably talk about with our guests and see what they learned in school and the lessons that were passed on to them from their parents. I know last year in season 1, we had a lot of great guests who had a lot of lessons to pass on from their life.
It's amazing how most of them were, like, we learned a lot of new, different lessons from people.
And not just from their parents.
Same thing.
Yeah, and not just from their parents or their personal life, but from their professional life lessons that they learned too. And so that's one of the reasons I think that we started this podcast and that we want to keep doing it. And why I think people have taken a liking to it is because it's refreshing to hear other people that have gone through struggles, that have learned things, that come from a different background. But at the end of the day, we all take away, the same things. Right. And some lessons may not apply to everybody, but
I learned something new.
I
never thought of that. Let me pass that on to my kids.
Exactly.
And I've heard a few people saying that.
Yeah.
You had a guest on, I don't remember what it was, but they said something. It's like, I really like that. Like, I never thought of it in that way.
For sure.
And it helped me, maybe, they apply themselves differently now or do it. I think it's very interesting how we talk about these lessons that we learned in school when we were so much younger and how relevant they are.
Yeah.
Both for our children, but also for our everyday lives, whether it's professionally, things we do, and how, you take like for granted sometimes, I think, the lessons you learn as a kid. Absolutely. But here we are still applying them and still passing them.
Yeah. And I learn lessons from our clients every day.
All the time.
When we do these design sessions and we get to know the clients on a personal level, they're teaching us stuff too. And it's cool to see how they live their lives and where they came from and how that affects their planning decisions, because every family's different and every person's different and every planning strategy is different. So it's cool to learn things from them as well, which helps me personally. Absolutely. And it helps me plan with other new clients, because how many times have you taken a planning strategy or an idea that you got from one client and we're like, and then the same thing kind of applies to somebody else? different.
We learn a lot working with our clients.
Absolutely.
To work with. We learn new strategies or new ideas, or that's one thing I say often. Like, one of my favorite parts about what we do is we meet so many new people on a personal level. Just learning, even just the jobs that are out there that some of our clients have.
Yeah.
Just like, wait, I never thought, like, so cool.
Yeah.
Like I was, like there's some of the ways that people make money out there, or lessons they teach their kids, or how activities they're involved in, things that I never thought of. And I love learning those things.
Well, I think that's something that we're going to implement too in future episodes is case studies from our clients, whether it be from probate or from our estate planning clients, where we can give a synopsis and a little summary about not necessarily who we plan for, because everything's confidential.
Can share that.
But we can, talk about what type of job they have, the family situation, and how we plan for them, so that other people can start thinking about, hey, we're in a similar situation. Maybe we want to plan that way as well. So I think that'll be a little cool thing that we'll implement this season as well.
Yeah, that would be a nice addition.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I think that's enough to wrap up episode 1 of season 2.
Bring it back.
Yeah. So we're excited again to be doing this and to be coming to you guys and for you to listen to us and watch us. So make sure you check us out on social media at Florida Estate Planning Lawyer. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. We're on X. We're everywhere that you could find us. So again, look out for us, and share, comment, and subscribe, like my girls like to say.
Yeah. Oh, geez, YouTube, man.
Yeah.
Even your girls are saying
right down there somewhere. I think there's going to be a button.
Is it down there?
It'll be there. Maybe I'll put something that comes in here. Maybe I'll put something that comes in here. But make sure you follow us if you like it and you want to hear more. Reach out to us if you have any questions, and we'll look forward to seeing you in episode 2. Have a good one.
Bye.